It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. 7:35 Eastern Time. You know what the drill is. We're going from the screen to the trading floor this morning. My name is Joseph James. I'm a day trader with SchoolOfTrade.com. Come out and join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a live trade room we run at SchoolOfTrade.com, and we call all of our trades live in real time on crude oil, gold, euro, and of course the mighty mini Russell. Come out and join me anytime. We have a free trial on our website. With me today, I've got my partner in crime, my better-looking half, Mr. Marty Errico, directly from the trading floor of the NYMEX. He's from Traders Audio. Go out and see him and his partner, Jeffrey, 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. They start their broadcast Monday through Friday. And, of course, as we all know, hold on one second here, George. Let me just make sure my audio is okay on that end. Yep, my audio should be okay on my end, George. It may be double playing on your end somewhere. So, welcome aboard. My name is JJ. I got Marty right along with me here. Let's rock and roll here today. Perfect. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it. I'm a technical analyst. I'll be starting today with a top-down approach, meaning that I'm going to start with a slower time frame and work my way down to a faster time frame. I'll be analyzing what happened over the last few months, over the past few weeks, and of course over the past few hours, specifically looking at the overnight and London trading session. I'm going to anticipate direction at the open because if I can anticipate direction, I can look for high percentage trading opportunities starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So bottom line is I have a pretty simple job here. Start with a slower time frame first. That way I can get the bird's eye view. I can get the big picture. Then I'm going to move my way down to what happened over the past few hours, specifically what happened out of London. With that information, I should be able to anticipate the direction that we should see at the open. With that direction, I can, of course, trade with that direction using support and resistance lines on my charts. I'll find high percentage opportunities that I'll begin trading with our students at School of Trade at 8 o'clock in the morning. Moving forward, once I'm done with you, we're going to toss you all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange. We're going from Los Angeles to New York City. My good friend and partner in crime here, Marty Errico, our pit analyst this morning, providing us with market direction, intermarket divergence, looking at crude oil, RBOB, gasoline, heating oil, and Brent crude. Of course, we'll take a look at market internals, option prices, and those always important and sometimes a little bit confusing, those pit session trading levels. Don't forget, folks, those pit session trading levels. I trade the electronic trading hours right here in my home office on my screens, whereas Marty will be trading the regular trading hours. So make sure you're aware there are different pit session open, high, low, close levels that we need to be aware of today. That's the plan today. Without any further delay, let's jump right into it this morning, and I'm going to run right over here, and let's take a look at what the schedule looks like this morning. The first things first, before we take our first trade, I have to know, what do I have for news today? Do I have anything that stands out? Is there anything that we can get from clues from today's economic calendar? Now, again, we begin our day every morning with what I call a formal morning prep. And this formal morning prep is like my cup of coffee every morning, right? I would never start the day without it. And I begin this morning by asking myself an important question, right? Self, what day of the week? What week of the month? What month of the year? Today's a Wednesday. It is the 4th week of the month, and this is the month of August, which of course we know is a summertime month. So let's begin here. First of all, what do we know? Do we have any clues that are hidden inside of this stuff? Is there any clues here? Well, first of all, we know the month of August is notorious for being lower volume. Lower volume, the month of August, the last 2 weeks of the month of August are always going to be some of the slowest of the year. So be aware of it. We are going up at the plate this morning with 2 strikes against us, unfortunately. We have very low volume this time of year. It will not last forever. It's just the last few weeks of the summertime. Everyone's off on vacation. People use it as an excuse. In Europe, there's no economic reports being released right now. This is this time of the year, right? So be aware of it. Know the situation. The end of the month of August, the first few days of September are always going to be a little bit sleepy. Now, what that means is there will be times this morning where we have very good price action and there'll be times this morning when we have very poor price action. We will be responsible as individuals to pick up on that price action, pick up on that market personality, and make educated decisions based on it. When you talk about identifying market personality, that's where experience comes into play, and that's where we really provide a lot of our service in our live trade room at School of Trade. That's where you'll see a lot of service from Marty and his partner Jeffrey, right, in the pit at Traders Audio. They're going to be able to tell us, right, when the volume is slowing down, when the personality is getting quiet, right? You see how valuable that is to a new trader who hasn't quite experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly yet that comes along with trading August. Having a mentor or a coach in your corner who can just make you aware of when the personality is getting a little bit too dangerous, that's a very, very big value. Moving forward here, what do we know about the fourth week of the month? Usually the fourth week of the month is the end of the month. This month of August, we have 5 Fridays. That's right, we have 5 Fridays. So the 5th week will be next week. That will be the end of the month, right? So no need to worry about the 4th week of the month. And then last but not least here, it's a Wednesday. What do we know about a Wednesday? We know something important happens on Wednesdays, doesn't it? Well, absolutely. We got crude oil inventories. Pending any holidays, crude oil inventories are like clockwork every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Right? There are a few reports every week. Jobless claims on Thursday, nat gas on Thursday, inventories on crude on Wednesday, right? Certain things always happen on certain times of the week. So we know today is a Wednesday of the month of August, towards the end of the month of August. We should expect lower volume overall today. We should also expect to see some dramatic movement in crude oil after the 10:30 news is released. And before the 10:30 news is released, we must be patient trading crude today. We must be patient. One of the first things that I think of on a Wednesday is how I have tried to force trades before the news and then tried to get into trades too early after the news, and I'll get all chopped up, right, because we think we know where things are going. But again, I'm going to be very, very keen on keeping an eye on price action, market personality on crude oil futures this morning, because we do have that 10:30 news. And then after 10:30, this is really important. After that 10:30 news is released today, we're going to sit on hands. Ultimately, I am not trading between 10:15 and 10:40 a.m. this morning on crude. Other markets, I'm okay. But when it comes to crude oil, I have to be aware that's my sit on hands time, 10:15 to 10:40. I don't want to get chopped up ahead of the news, and I don't want to fall victim to that fake out breakout that happens usually quickly after the news. Oftentimes, the first knee-jerk reaction after that 10:30 news is oftentimes the opposite of what will actually be the new trend that develops. So be patient afterwards and be very disciplined not to trade too close to that news event. Now, we have some very promising news today. I guess, yes, they're all promising news, right? But we have 2 Red Star news events. Jackpot. Now we're talking. Red Star news. These are the news events marked by red stars on my calendar. These Red Star news events are extremely important. We knew that earlier this week, Monday and Tuesdays to be specific, there was no major news at all. And what did we see? Well, yesterday morning, I saw some of the lowest volume I've seen on crude oil in years. I mean, if you went and looked at volume, the average volume yesterday morning at 8:30 in the morning, it looked like the crude market had been put to sleep. There was nothing being traded yesterday morning. It picked up, of course, as the morning progressed, but it's important to understand the value of big, important news events. Big Red Star news events, they get everybody involved. They get everyone participating. So be aware, we got 2 of them today. We've got 10 o'clock and we've got 2 o'clock. Both of these news reports are going to be big, big news for crude oil and most other markets today. Existing home sales, that of course is going to be a lagging indicator to consumer confidence, right, and the overall economic condition. FOMC minutes, everybody's been talking about Fed tapering. You know that with the crude oil pit closing at 2:30, you're going to get a great close on crude today. So we know we've got really from the beginning to the end of the day today on the regular trading hours of crude between 9 o'clock and 2:30 p.m., by the way. We know we're going to get some opportunity today. We've got 2 Red Star news events. We've got inventory report at 10:30. We've talked about trading around the inventory report, and we've also talked about the fact that we have 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock news. I'm going to set my alarm 15 minutes ahead of each news event, wait for the event to come out, and then trade the reaction of those events. Be on the lookout today for a little bit of slow volume when we begin, but we have 10 o'clock, 10:30, and 2 o'clock news this morning. That's some pretty exciting stuff here on a summertime day. So we got some great opportunities today. Let's take a look at our first chart this morning. It's a 30-minute chart of crude. Most important thing I want you to see on this 30-minute chart, look at the ranges. First of all, I see the prior week's low, very big clue. We're trading at the prior week. That means a week ago, the low of day from a week ago, right? The lowest point last week. We are below that low of day or that low of week. That means we should be bearish. Now, one little clue here that we got was we saw price go below the previous low of day, come back above the previous low of day, which is almost ready to trigger our inside-out setup. So members out there will know that if we continue to go higher here, we should keep buying pullbacks. But I'm very suspicious of this. I'm very suspicious. Being below the previous week low, seeing these 1, 2, this is the third day in a row here that we're going lower. It's very clear the sellers have something to say this morning, and as soon as we get to a new lower low, I'm going to keep selling short here this morning. I've got targets below me at 103.43. I will take profit at the 103.43, wave pattern short down to 103.43. Take your money and run. Look for price to break new lower lows, and we'll get right back to business again down to 102.03. So we have a very big clue this morning in the previous low of day and the previous low of week. Very important. Below the previous week low, I know the sellers are in charge. If the sellers were not in charge, we would not be at the previous week's low. We'd be all the way at the previous week's high, or we'd be in the middle of last week's range. Right now, we can tell we're below the previous week's low. That's enough proof for me to think we are bearish this morning. I might be wrong, though. And if I'm wrong, if these buyers happen to wrestle away control, I will look for a higher high here, and then I will begin using my wave pattern long, taking profit up at the trend lines overhead. And, of course, if you really want to be a hero, waiting to get that target filled at the previous high of day, right? The hero target this morning will be that previous high of day for the buyers, all right? So sellers, I'm going short down to 103.43 in the short term. Buyers, buying up to that trend line up around 106, 106.25, 106.5. All right, looking good. That's the big picture. Now, moving forward, take a look at the same type of scenery on a tick chart. Now here we have my anchor chart number 1. The 30-minute chart, I like to use the 30-minute chart first because it gives me an idea of ranges. It gives me an idea of trading ranges, right? Previous highs, previous lows, previous week highs, previous week lows. Now we see we have that bear channel still today. This has been the same chart we've been talking about here for about a week now, right? So bear channel, you can see we have nestled in here to this 104.99 to 104.29. So ultimately, this tells me there's a reason why we've bounced a little bit here. Remember that 30-minute chart showed us above the previous low of day. What it looks like right now is we will continue to keep grinding lower, and I will continue to keep looking to sell short. Now, remember, I may not be right about that. We may have the buyers wrestle away control, and if it does, as soon as we get above that 104.99, we will begin to see those buyers take flight here again, and we'll buy it right back up here to that, again, to the highs of that range, those trend lines we drew on the 30-minute chart. So just be aware, we do have a bear channel. We do have a bearish trend on the anchor chart. The higher percentage trades will be selling short. We may have some counter reversal or some counter trend trades here going long here, but we'll have to wait a little bit patiently here today to see if that's going to become the case. Again, targets below us, 103.30, 102.70. You can see a few of them there. There's the 103.43 we saw already. And again, a nice final target down here at 102 even, right, that big round number. So again, according to the anchor chart, I am looking to sell short here today on crude. Moving forward here now, one time frame faster, I move down to a little bit faster entry or anchor chart, I should say, and we begin to see a lot more of the same stuff. Right, get a lot more of the same stuff here. We've got a short-term bear channel. That short-term bear channel, remember, is inside of a longer-term bear channel. So we're seeing more and more clues here, right? We're seeing more and more clues that selling short here will be the higher percentage trades. The only problem we're going to have right now is staying patient during what may be some low volume as we begin the morning session here. Again, we don't have any major news until 10 o'clock. It's a summertime trading day, end of the month of August, so we can expect some lower volume out the gate today. But it does look like, though, I will be looking for selling opportunities across the board this morning. Now, looking at this from the chart standpoint, I'm bearish. There's a slight chance here we might get bullish here later on in the session. We got a couple of Red Star news events to worry about later on in the day today. So there is a chance here we might end up jumping higher. I will be erring on the side of caution. I will be trading very carefully until after the opening bell at 9 o'clock. I will be looking to get short first, of course, to trade along with a long-term trend. Now, that's just my humble opinion. I'm just one lonely old day trader here in my home office in Los Angeles. I'm anxious to hear, though. I'm anxious to see what Marty's thinking on the exchange of the NYMEX. You know, this is a really powerful way to do it, guys. We're beginning each morning on the charts. Now we're going to move all the way over here now to the NYMEX exchange. Marty, what are you seeing over there, my friend? Are we excited for a busy day in the pit today? How are we doing today?
Well, yesterday wasn't too bad. Yesterday was a nice busy day in the pit. Nice moderate volume. We had the expiration of September contract, and we had wild price action to go along with it. And you've got to remember, when the volume's thin like this, you know, sometimes you get some exaggerated moves, and you really see the market take off. Now, I'm kind of disagreeing with JJ just a bit. You know, I mean, if we break one level, then I'll agree with him, and I'll say, okay, you know, we can look for selling opportunities and we could see some downside. But right now, I think we could be in a position where we could possibly see a little bit of a bid come into the market, right? So we had API numbers come out last night, most importantly, and API showed us that we have a very healthy crude market and we have reasons to stay to the upside, right? So take a look at this first and foremost here. We had our APIs come out last night with a draw in the crude of about 1.2 million. Yeah, it's a draw on the crude of 1.2 million. Cushing crude, that's commercial. Cushing crude shows a draw of 1.1 million out of the API. We have gasoline showing a nice big draw, about 3.7 million. And distillates, which is heating oil, and which nobody's really using right now, heating oil, except for jet fuels and making diesel fuel, right, shows a build of 1.8 million. So overall, a very bullish number for crude, right? Rather healthy for the market at this point in time, and we're going to be trying to see if this could be our leading indication into today's DOE EIA report that's due out at 10:30 this morning. And here are the latest forecasts for that number. So the forecasts that Platts have put out and the analysts at Platts were reviewed, and this is what they came up with. And again, these are going to be the forecasts for today's numbers, and sometimes that they're revised. So the latest copy will be posted out on the blog with JJ, and the latest copy will be shown right before the number. You can see that we're looking for a draw of about 957,000 for crude, right? Just a touch under a million. And if we get something similar to the APIs, well, look at that, you know. So again, we're looking for 957,000 draw for crude. We're looking for a draw in the gasoline number of about 1.5 million, and a build in the distillates, which again is heating oil, 857,000 barrels. We also really want to watch the Cushing, Oklahoma number. That's going to be very important, Cushing's number, and also the refinery utilization rate, as that really rallied gasoline last week. So remember, that's really what drove gasoline higher last week, that refinery utilization rate, and it's important, especially during this summer driving season. It's important to have that number handy and to know how to use that number and react with that number, right? So again, very simple here. So we did see a very, as I mentioned, very bullish number for your crude, and that's something that kind of concerns me. So it's going to be 8 o'clock in a few hours, and we're going to have some, in a few minutes, it's going to be 8 o'clock. We're going to have some of our traders coming to their desks, and right now I'm at the bottom of a bullish channel on crude in the October contract now. This SEP went off the board yesterday, and I'm going to be looking to buy if we can stay above and open above 104.28. So say at 9 o'clock the bell rings and we open up below 104.28. then I'm going to be a bear, and I think that we can sell this thing, right, until the inventory number comes out, and then we'll see what type of reaction comes in. But really, remember last week we had a draw on inventories. It was looking all fine and dandy to rally, and all of a sudden the market fell out. So the market's going to do what the market wants to do, right? The market's going to dictate price, no other way it wants to go. So again, this is how we dictate price. We can tell what level are we opening up at, what's our opening, right? What's the big money doing? Big money right now, larger locals, bigger money, they're right now kind of flat, to be honest with you. They flatten out their positions as they come into the first full trading day of now the October contract, and they kind of flatten out positions from yesterday, but they have options, they have insurance to the upside, right? They buy a couple calls because there's issues happening geopolitically, right? And now Syria, this is the second time now that they were geopolitically, this is the second time that they are accused of using chemical weapons against their people. Again, today they had another news story that came out, and there were over 200-300 people killed or injured. Killed, sorry, and hundreds and hundreds of people injured. So this is going to be another geopolitical factor, so we could always rally. But my point being is a lot of locals in the pit, they may be flat-sided right now, and they're going to be looking to scalp, but they have long positions, long type of options, positions in that they have assured to be upside. So if we do rally and there is a geopolitical fear that comes into play, this market can take off to the upside. So the number of the day is going to be 104.28. If we open up above it, I'm going to stay bullish. I'm going to buy the lows here of yesterday's range. I'm going to try to buy below this channel, right? Also, highest percentage trade is buying the support below the channel, so buying that 104.28 wouldn't be such a bad idea, coming in and buying this and getting back within that channel and trading back up. And especially if we get that draw on inventories like we saw in the API numbers, that's the evidence for upside for me. And again, traders are going to start to react to that API number once they get back to their desk around 8 o'clock this morning. They're going to say, holy, look at this API number. We had a nice draw, right? So there it is, draw 1.2 million, and Cushing showed a draw as well. All right, let's get to it here this morning. So far, what we have here in store is a little bit of a light, unchanged market across the board. If you look with me, you can see here that we have your crude right now pretty much unchanged, but slightly looking to trade a little bit higher. But again, unched means unchanged, so we're unched to slightly lower across the board. But again, we're going to be looking to try to come in and buy these lows after looking at the inventory number, and it's bullish, right? So we have a little bit of a sideways market, though, and we are towards the lows. Brent WTI spread this morning in big backwardation by about 50 cents. Supply-demand differential looking very bullish across the board. The calendar spread as well. We're talking OCT Novi. We're talking OCT Novi. They are all in contango by about 5 to 10 cents, so they are all bullish. So our indications this morning here are looking rather bullish, right? Brent WTI spread is trading right now at 532. Again, we were at about 580 earlier this morning, so we came in just a bit on the spread, and it all depends where we open up this morning. Calendar spreads this morning are looking a little bullish as well, but again, it all depends where we open this morning. Let's take a look at your dollar here now this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your dollar is higher today as it had a big down day yesterday on that dollar index. Dollar's up about 30 points. No, dollar is up, sorry, 36 points, 18 ticks. So again, 36 points, 18 ticks higher on the dollar this morning. Higher on the dollar. Euro's lower by 30. So again, dollar's higher by 30, lower euro by 30, and then we can see the rest of our commodity currencies and the rest of our other currency differentials are lower. See that? Alrighty, guys. So now let's move on over to some levels. And again, as we were looking at a chart, we're going to try to come in and try to be above the 104.28. If we open below it, then we're going to try to stay bearish. So again, it's all important. 104.28. That's my level for today. And if we happen to, again, trade below it, if we get below it, if we open below it, then we're going to have to change our mentality and start to sell retracements as the market dictates. Looking over the natural gas real quickly here before we start up with those levels here. Look at natural gas here, filling that channel in the middle of the night to the downside and then bouncing off that channel low. And again, the channel low, to be fair, is going to be the previous low a day. So that's why we bounced off it. It's not really bouncing off the channel low, but you can see we bounced off previous low. And now it looks like we're going to trade within this range today as we have a few variables that may drive this market a little bit higher. But again, so far, that's the 8 o'clock bell, 350 has been the high of the range, and that looks like where we're going to respect that high. So again, we're going to try to buy a pullback in the 350 and then sell that sucker down back down to the previous low day, low of the channel, and then we're going to buy that thing. So again, we're pulling back right now. It looks like a wave pattern long up to 350. So we're going to get long up to 350, and then we're going to sell that thing as we have inventories tomorrow, and we have also our weather forecast coming out tomorrow as well. Hang on, I'm not answering that phone right now. Real quickly here, guys, let's take a look at those levels, ladies and gentlemen, for you in a big way as we do every single morning. I got levels for you, talking pit session levels here. Someone answer the phone, please. Thank you. Taking a look over into now our pit session levels here. We have for you guys high 197, low 105.63, closing settlement number 105.07. Again, closing and settling just above the 105 handle here, which we are now trading below. Guys, daily pivot today 105.56, which we are below at the moment. Again, we trade about 104.45 right now. So again, we are just below that daily pivot by almost a full dollar. But again, it's still holding levels above the 104.28. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look with me here, I got a little bit of resistance up above at 105.21, 106.08, and 107.48. Support down below, right, 104.28, 104.15, 103.22, and 188. Guys, we've been watching implied volatility holding steady and firm here at about 23%. OVX trading at about 24.20. So if we do end up opening up below the 104.28, we have some volatility associated with the trade. That's great. A lot of delta buying has been coming in as well. Delta is the idea and the idea of movement. So a lot of traders buy the idea of movement. We see big movement in these markets, and again, we can expect it today because delta is actually being quite bid in these strike levels of 104.5, 105 even, and 105.5, and that's kind of where we're at right now, that 104.5 strike level, and there's about, what, 70, 80% delta in these trades, so they definitely buy the idea of movement. They don't care where it goes, whether up or down, just they want to see movement associated with the trade in big ranges. Open interest this morning, 346,600. Now, that's one thing. We're up about 20,000 in open interest, and that's concerning to say more shorts are in the market. So that's something I do respect to the downside. But again, it's all about that 104.28 level. Ladies and gentlemen, taking a look over into the natural gas now. Pit session high, 350 even, low 344.30. Close the settlement number, 344.30. Close right on the lows. Daily pivot today, 345.80. Again, that's 345.80 with resistance up above at 348.5, 350 even, of course. That's what we're going to try to sell, but other levels, 352.70 and 359.60. Support down below, what I got for you guys is going to be that low 344.30, big settlement number as well, so that's a big support level. Guys, I got 341.60, 338.90, and 332 even as support, with open interest rising 200,034, implied volatility 33% volatility rising here as we trade within this range, as we've been watching. Again, a little bit of an offer in volatility yesterday, but now vol's back up, right? Gamma was being bid. We had that sideways range break even for the gamma scalpers, and that's basically been the case where they're able to cover their daily theta at a reasonable price. So that's been the deal, and we are going to trade within that range. Again, any type of breakout from above 350 would be weather related, right? As we have the 6 to 10 day NWS going out tomorrow. So, all right, that's about it here, guys. I got to run here. I'm going to throw it back over to JJ in Los Angeles.
As always, Marty, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you to each and every one of you guys for coming in and joining us here this morning. That was Marty Errico directly from the NYMEX trading floor. And boy, it's always so great to have him with us because, as you heard me say, I was nothing but bearish this morning. And then, of course, Marty comes in and he makes us aware of some very important information from our inventory numbers. And these inventory numbers, which I've just updated for you guys on the blog, so check them out on the blog here over at Sideways Markets. But as always, guys, a very, very powerful way to do it. Marty confirmed much of the same stuff that I was looking at, but had a very different way of looking at today's price action. So don't forget, guys, very valuable having those two opinions every morning. So want to thank Marty and the entire team here at Traders Audio. My name is Joseph James over at SchoolOfTrade.com. You can email both of us if you'd like to give us any feedback, or if you'd like to have a link for tomorrow's broadcast. Would you like to come out and be part of our live studio audience? Right? Absolutely. Email me, JJ at School of Trade. Email Marty at Traders Audio. Ask him for the direct link for tomorrow's broadcast, Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching today. Send me your feedback, and we'll see you guys and gals back here for a Thursday edition. Boy, the week is flying by. A Thursday edition tomorrow morning of our crude oil prep. Have yourselves a wonderful day out there. Don't forget about that inventory number at 10:30 this morning. What time is it again? 10:15 to 10:40, right? Have a great time out there. George, Anis, Sebash, JD, thank you guys for being here today. Thank you so much for all your feedback. We'll see you guys 23 hours and 30 minutes from now. Have a great day out there, guys. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.